So, Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, the United States top diplomat, is going right along with Donald Trump as far as saying that the election's not over. He could still win. There may be voter fraud. We need to count all the legal votes, and a lot of the media is covering, when they asked him, hey, is Trump going to participate in a peaceful transfer of power? And if he doesn't, how much does how much does this affect national security? And he says there's going to be a smooth transition of power to a second Trump administration, and has a smirk on his face. Now, the media is covering this, and rightfully so, but I think a lot of people are making a huge deal just out of that one segment. Like, oh my God, he said there'll be another Trump administration when there won't be. Trump, this is bad for democracy. Now look, not saying it's not bad for democracy, okay? But they're so focused on just that one clip, and they're playing that clip over and over again, that they didn't play. And I'm like, Trump, it's clear, it is what it is at this point. Obviously, Trump has people who are enabling him to believe that he can still win the election when he in fact can't, and he in fact won't. Try again in 2024, buddy. Or don't. Matter of fact, don't. But that being said, we know at this point Republicans are not going to publicly concede. There's only been, I think, 3 of them. Mitt Romney, I forget the other 2, but only 3 Republicans have publicly conceded the election and congratulated Joe Biden. And most of them had a beef with Trump. Everyone else is just kind of, falling in line. So this is to be expected. What I didn't expect was, I'm not sure who the journalist was, because I couldn't get their name. I tried to find their name, couldn't get it. But the question that they asked here, to me, is fundamentally of a more important question, and it speaks not only to how Donald Trump will not concede the election, and how it could be a danger, but also how it could make America hypocritical. And I thought this was a very good question, and a very good very good question by this individual in media. I'm not sure who asked the question, but I want you to take a listen to this question from the same Pompeo press conference, and listen to what Mike Pompeo says. Let's roll the clip.
This department frequently sends out statements encouraging free and fair elections abroad.
Yes.
And for the losers of those elections to accept the results. Doesn't President Trump's refusal to concede discredit those efforts?
That's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. And you asked it because it's ridiculous. Look, the truth. You asked the question, yes, ma'am. You asked the question. If you will permit me to answer it, you asked a question that is ridiculous. This department cares deeply to make sure that elections around the world are safe and secure and free and fair. And my officers risk their lives to ensure that happens. They work diligently on that. We often encounter situations where it's not clear about a particular election. We work to uncover facts. We work to do discovery to learn whether, in fact, the outcome.
That's a ridiculous question, Mike. Mike, that's a ridiculous question. Come on, Mike. This is a very, very, very good question. So, if Mike Pompeo is going around the world saying, hey guys, democracy is important. We want to make sure that all these countries have free elections, and if you lose, accept the results of the election. We need peaceful transitions of power. And then he's in the United States, and he's doing the complete opposite. That does make America look very hypocritical. He says the question is ridiculous because he doesn't want to admit, yes, it's true, I am very hypocritical. Can you imagine Mike Pompeo actually admitting that he's a hypocrite? No, of course not. Of course not. And then he goes on to spin it how, yes, some of those elections are close and the winner is not clear, and we want to make sure it's clear in those countries just like we want to do here, This is American nonsense. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear your explanation. The bottom line is, yes, you are a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite, Mike. You are. And Your Republican colleagues are hypocrites too. Now, someone could easily spin the question on Joe Biden in the same manner and say, well, hey, you want a free election here. Didn't you support a coup in Venezuela and also a coup in, which Asian nation was it? I can't remember the country. I apologize for, any of my viewers who might be from the particular country. I can't remember the name of the country, but hey, didn't you just support a coup in Asia? And have you guys been supporting a coup in Venezuela for a long time? But you want the election here to be fair? See, this is why the media won't cover it. The media won't cover this particular question or segment because the United States, in large, what it does foreignly and what it does domestically on both sides of the aisle is very hypocritical. So everyone's all about free elections until free elections doesn't serve them. And Donald Trump's behavior, although this is the first time we've ever had this in the United States specifically, this is just a further example of how America says one thing and does another. And I don't want you to think that this is something that's limited to the Republican Party. We're like, oh, the Republicans, they do one thing and say another. We always say what we mean. Democrats, the moral high ground. There is no moral high ground. All these idiots in Washington are exactly the same. All of them. Apart from a few progressives who actually care about the people and who actually want to represent their voters and their voter base, and a couple libertarians as well, which I disagree with ideologically, but at least they do what their voter base wants them to do. The majority of Democrats and Republicans, yes, this applies to all of you. All of them. They're all hypocritical. They all lie, and they all do things when it's convenient for them. It's just that Donald Trump has taken it a step further and decided to do it in the United States. There's no difference in Donald Trump trying to interfere with this election than it is with the U.S. Congress trying to interfere in with the election in Venezuela and trying to stage a coup in Venezuela. No difference. There's no difference in the coups that we tried to do in Asia. There's no difference in this in the coups that we've done in Iran and Iraq over the years. None. No excuse, no difference. The only difference is it's happening here. And now, everybody's like, oh my God, this is fascism. This is anti-democratic. Oh no. Oh, good thing Americans don't believe in this. Yeah, when it's your country and when it's other people's country, you're totally okay with it. And it's funny, I remember when my sister would do some things and get in trouble when I was younger, and my father would say, you're causing trouble for people and you won't be satisfied until the trouble affects you. Well, the trouble is affecting us in a very real way today. In America today, you have a president who is refusing to accept the results of the election and is causing chaos in the country. And although, yes, this is the first time this has happened in the United States specifically, this has happened multiple times overseas. We've seen, yes, some people were totalitarian dictators that got overthrown, but we've also seen lately democratic socialist governments. So basically people who are along the lines of Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm not saying that they believe exactly the same things that Bernie does, or that they don't have flaws, or they haven't done anything wrong at all. But at the end of the day, we've seen presidents of other countries with policies similar to the ones that Bernie Sanders wanted overthrown, thrown out of the election, and replaced by basically somebody who's going to be more sympathetic to America's goals for world domination. I'm sorry, world peace. Right. It's ridiculous. And, you would think, okay, well, maybe at least the Democrats realizing what's being done here to try to undermine this election and trying to overthrow it in court, maybe they'll be more sympathetic to the people who we've done the same thing to overseas for years. But of course not. Of course they won't. Because just like the election of Joe Biden, the Democratic Party always learns all the wrong lessons. Democrats do not, it's not that they don't learn from their history, it's the fact that they continue to learn the wrong lessons from their history. And they say if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. I'll take it a step further. If you don't know lessons to learn from your history, you will learn them eventually when you lose your power in office. Didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to, but you guys get the point. So, yep. So America's totally against Donald Trump not accepting the election results, but it's totally fine with doing it overseas. And yes, I do think this is hypocritical. Just like I think it's hypocritical for Mike Pompeo to say he wants free elections and then go on stage and stand alongside people and represent people in the United States who would like to stop a free election. So yeah, I get it, guys. You love free elections until it's convenient for you. You love dictatorships until it's convenient for you. We get that. We understand that. But look, to all my, Democratic voters, I don't want you thinking that your politicians, because they're more politically correct or they do